Welcome to the Richard Sherman podcast, brought to you by SuperDraft Fantasy. Daily fantasy is broken, and SuperDraft has fixed it. Listeners can discover why with their first $5 SuperDraft contest for free with the promo code PFF at registration. No credit card required. Download the SuperDraft app and play today.
Well, I'm the best corner in the game. Don't you ever talk about me. Picked off. It is Richard Sherman. It's picked off by Sherman. Now, buckle up. Here he goes. And it is intercepted by Richard Sherman. Broken up. Picked off. This game is over.
Welcome to the Richard Sherman podcast. I'm here again with my guy, Mitch Eisenstein. This week, we'll have a special guest, Austin Ekeler. It's going to be wonderful. We're going to have a great time. But, Mitchell, what you got?
Well, you know what, man? Austin Ekeler, he's guys that overcome the odds a lot. You know, smaller guy, workout warrior. A lot of people in fantasy football championship games this past weekend, and he's a guy that always seems to overachieve for the fantasy football fanatics out there. But Richard, I want to talk about real football right now. You know, at the end of this season, let's kind of do some evaluation of a lot of the rookies out there. It seems like there's a ton of studs that have entered the league from this past draft. I got one hot topic question for you. If the NFL draft were to be redone right now, would the Jacksonville Jaguars still be selecting Trevor Lawrence at 1?
That's a great question. I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I mean, he hasn't had the greatest season, but he hasn't had the greatest support staff. I'm sure if Trevor Lawrence had a choice, he would not want to be picked by the Jacksonville Jaguars first.
Fair enough.
You know, but I don't know who they would have went with. You know, I mean, they're obviously each quarterback has had their ups and downs. You know, Justin Fields has had some really good games. He's had some really, really down games. You could say Trey Lance has had the best second game of all of them. You know, it seemed like Kyle Shanahan drew up a very good game plan. Mac Jones was in the running for Rookie of the Year for a long time. You know, who knows? But I don't think even now that people would say that they'd say his ceiling is much different than everybody else's. If you were to put Mac Jones in Jacksonville, would he have had the success he has right now? I don't know. You know, I don't know if you see that. If you put Trevor Lawrence in New England, you know, does he have the kind of success that Mac Jones is having? I don't know. You know, the experts would say he has more talent, you know, but Mac Jones is actually getting the job done. So you give the guy with the production, not the guy with the potential. So I guess, I mean, you asking, does he go first? I mean, who knows if Micah Parsons doesn't go first? You know, Micah Parsons is having an unbelievable season, an unbelievable impact. But they did take Josh Allen last year, so I don't know.
And I know it's unconventional to go wide receiver at number 1, but what Jamar Chase has done in his rookie year, one can make a case for him as well. I mean, Cincinnati has just had a remarkable turnaround. What are your thoughts on that team?
Oh, it's been unbelievable. I mean, everybody has talked about they needed to protect Joe Burrow and they needed to take an offensive lineman, and they didn't. You know, they went Joe Burrow and then they gave Joe Burrow a weapon. And it's worked out freaking unbelievably. The guy's had a few 200-yard games, which is unbelievable as a rookie. He's done it against some really good corners too. He would definitely have a shot at being the number 1 pick, but with nobody throwing the ball in Jacksonville, I don't know if they would have picked him. But you got to think, man, that national championship that LSU went to with you know him, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Burrow. I mean, good night. I mean, how are you going to beat that team?
There's a reason they won the title. That is for darn sure. And the fact that they just kind of seemingly came out of nowhere too is surprising. It kind of, I don't know what the NFL scouts and all these draft experts were doing in the preseason, but they certainly slept on the LSU Tigers, man. Holy smokes.
No question. That's, you know, that goes back to the old story of experts. You know, everybody's just guessing.
I mean,
but I mean,
this going 5th round makes a ton of sense, you know, in the grand scheme of things.
It's one of the most obvious things in NFL history. I mean, Tom Brady going 6th. I mean, it's obvious they knew what they were doing that year. They were like, this guy, he doesn't have it. There's no way.
No way.
But Yeah, I think it's going to be, I mean, LSU has put out some of the best receivers in the National Football League. Everybody's talked about Alabama and the receivers they've put out, which they have put out some really talented guys. You talk about this year alone, I think they had, 3 first rounders?
Yeah.
But you just talk about overall production of Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase is unbelievable.
Richard, you're talking about, a QB wide receiver combo and Burrow and Chase. And then you look at Aaron Rodgers, who you called, for your midseason MVP. I asked you if you had to pick a player that wasn't a teammate, who would you go with as an MVP? And you said Aaron Rodgers, and he has certainly proved you right. He gave a tremendous compliment to his running mate, Devonta Adams. And I know you have a tremendous amount of respect for Devonta. It seems like when you watch Aaron Rodgers and Devonta Adams, they have such a bond, and Aaron Rodgers told Devonta that he's the most talented player he's ever played with. You can totally see that. What do you see between Devonta Adams and Aaron Rodgers that separates them from other QB wide receiver combos out there?
It's a feel. It's almost like they read each other's minds. And if you have that kind of connection on the football field, I mean, between a receiver and a quarterback, you're damn near impossible to stop.
Have you seen much like that in your days?
Yeah, I mean, you freaking Tom and Wes Welker had it really well. It looks like freaking Jamar Chase and Burrows are, have that kind of connection at this point in time. But I mean, it's really unbelievable. That's why it's interesting, because you talk about Green Bay and their fan base, who's supposed to be some of the most faithful fans, and like, oh man, but they were if you go back 7-8 months about how they were talking about Aaron Rodgers, 6 months
right.
How they were talking about Aaron Rodgers, and like, oh, just get him out of here, we'll take, we're ready to move on from him, and he's just a headache. And then he's this is coming off an MVP season. I don't give a dang what he's doing in off season. I don't give a dang if he's surfing on Jeopardy or whatever. This man has brought y'all an MVP season, 4 MVPs, and you guys are, you know what I mean? Like, he played good football his whole career. He's always had them in the mix. I think he's been to 4 NFC titles, been to a Super Bowl, won one. Like, and it just seems like it's an underappreciation. It's like, it's like the old saying from Batman, you either die a hero or you live long enough for them to call you the villain. And that's the part that's really startling, because he's been so good for them. And now people are like, yeah, of course they're going to re-sign him. Of course we want him back. Of course you want him. But it was like, no, it's not. No, of course. You guys were talking about getting rid of him. Like, who could we trade for him? Oh, we have the future right behind him. Like, no, you don't. This is a once in a lifetime, not once in a generation, once in a lifetime quarterback.
Right. And it seemed that, in watching the game this weekend, Aaron Rodgers acknowledged that, he was part of the problem. He did not communicate his frustrations. He did not ask to be more involved in the decision-making process with the front office. And once he kind of let that be an open topic of conversation, it was an open forum. They brought back Randall Cobb and some of his old running mates that he had a ton of respect for. And all of a sudden you just see this Aaron Rodgers that's almost like mentally free, right? He's just out there just playing the game he loves. And everybody else is just kind of slotted in. They got A.J. Dillon, who can pound the rock, in addition to obviously having a tremendous running back core before A.J. Dillon came on this year. So, I mean, it's just awesome to see. But Richard, you called it probably 8 weeks ago. And
well, I mean, it wasn't a hard thing to call. A-Rod is going to be in the discussion. Tom's going to be in discussion. It's a reason they've been so great for so long. Every year somebody wants to, oh man, like they're falling off. Oh man, they're old. Like, when Aaron Rodgers wants to stop playing football, he'll stop playing football. It won't be because his talent's gone. He has an immense talent. He's freaking playing at the highest level right now. And if he wants to play till he's 50, he can play till he's 50. But, like, I just hated the fans not riding with him. You know what I mean? After everything he's done for you guys, like, y'all not going to ride for him. Like, cool. Oh, he's frustrated. Like the fans always ride with the logo, which is cool. Like, cool, ride with the logo. But don't come at him. Like, that's the part where it's like, it was just like in New England when they're coming at Tom Brady. Like, no, come on. Like, I understand you guys roll with the logo. But at the end of the day, this dude won a lot for you guys.
100%.
Like, without him, you guys have a lot less to cheer for.
And some fan bases get incredibly spoiled. And Richard, I hate to say it, I'm going to say it. I think the Seattle Seahawks fan base right now had a taste of the high life for a decade, and now they've regressed. And you look at social media and the comment section, it's just they're getting belittled, and you see it no matter where you are, right? I mean, you guys could win 6 games in a row and lose 1, and people are sounding off in the comment section. But it's a fan base like the Green Bay Packers, where you have a first ballot, one of the top 5, arguably, quarterbacks of all time. It's like you have to appreciate every single snap this guy takes. Like being a Detroiter, right? I mean, growing up watching Barry Sanders, who randomly retires when he's 30-year-old in the middle of training camp or right before training camp. And the part of the fan base is, got his back, and part of them is just shaming him. It's like, be appreciative for what you have, because you don't know how long it's going to last. And that's what Packer fans should truly do, is bow down to this man, because when he's gone, Jordan Love is taking the ball over. And good luck with that.
Right. I mean, no matter how good Jordan Love does, unless he goes and wins 4 MVPs and has the consistent greatness that Aaron Rodgers does, the efficiency consistently that Aaron Rodgers did, like, you guys are setting yourselves up for failure. And that's, like you said, in Seattle, it's like your expectations of hey, they're going to do all this, because they did it before. It's like, no. The guys that did that before are gone. Like, right. Lower your expectations, because you didn't appreciate what you had. So now it's gone. Now expect lower, like expect less, right. Because you're gonna be disappointed expecting what you had. It's like, no, get rid of those guys. They're not helping us get to the championship. It's like, no, wait. Aaron Rodgers was in the NFC Championship last year, MVP last year. You guys are acting like this is just a replaceable bum. Like, this guy had he had an off year last year. No, he was coming off of the MVP. You can't have better. You can't do better than that. Most valuable player in the National Football League, and you saying trade him. Right. And now he's on his way to potentially winning it again. And now you guys want to act like, oh, well, I mean, I guess we can keep him for 1 more year. Like, shut up.
They need to keep him for 5 more years. I'll say that. Richard, we got one more topic. Before we bring on Austin Ekeler, we've got a huge game in the college football ranks. The college football championship featuring 2 SEC teams. And we talked about it all year. It's time for the Big Ten or a non-Power 5 team. Get somebody else in there other than the SEC. And then
it was frustrating how they did it, because there's no reason that Cincinnati should have been 4 and Bama should have been 1. And, like, at the end of the day, it should have been Georgia 3, if anything.
Well, they were 3, yeah.
Or Georgia 4 and Cincy 3. They were undefeated. But they didn't want Georgia and Alabama playing the national championship in the semifinal, and the winner. Like, it's just unbelievable. It's just unnecessary. Like, nobody. I mean,
who do you like? I mean, this is a rematch game.
It's gonna be Bama blowing them out again, and it's just so predictable. It's not even gonna be close. It's just
Vegas has got a 2.5, 3-point line.
Vegas is not even thinking like Vegas. Shut up. Like, it's not even. They're just stealing people's money at this point.
So Bama, can I get a final score prediction?
I would guess, I mean, if they get bored, I guess 35 to some teenage number, 17, something like that.
I'm going to call a thriller. I'm going to say OT, this new triple OT, go for 2-point thing. I can't stand it, but I'm going to say a triple OT thriller. I'm going to say Georgia pulls it off, wins by 2, 36-34. I don't know how those numbers are going to get there, but that's my prediction. Please, PFF, stave that so that when this hits, we've got that.
Right. Have that form and have mine when it's just another freaking Bama blowout. And it's like, how do you fix college football? It's like, well, you put other teams in it and
pray that somebody randomly knocks them off.
Right. Or you put them, you put the opponent in front of them early that they're supposed to be in front of them early, and maybe they could have got them in the semi, and they're like, whoa, they just played them in an SEC championship. Well, I don't care. If those are the 2 teams that are supposed to meet again, it's like they were like, man, well, we can't play them again, so let's just put the rankings so they don't play again in the first round.
Right. Well, we need you on the college football playoff committee. That's what I've determined. So
Right, no question.
That'll be the next. I'll start pushing that. I'll start pushing that envelope for you.
Right.
Well, Richard, it's been a pleasure as always. We've got a tremendous guest jumping in here next, and Austin Ekeler. I'll let you sign it off.
All right. Well, appreciate you, Mitchell. It's always fun. It's going to be a great one with Austin. We're going to talk about, pound for pound and all that good stuff. Appreciate you being on, Mitchell, as always. Hey, it's the Richard Sherman podcast. This week we have an awesome guest. Austin, appreciate you joining us. It's an enormous pleasure. Obviously, we had our battles in the FCFL. We're not going to talk about that until later, but appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to chatting it up.
Yeah, man. So tell me about it. The season's been, kind of up and down for you guys, but you got a huge game Sunday. How you feeling?
Yeah, man. Sheesh. The season, it feels like it's any other season, right? There's always ups and downs. You're always trying to, be better than you were the week before. But that's not how the NFL works, as you know. Like, you got to show up every single week, and every week has a life of its own. And for us, we've had some inconsistencies, which is, the downfall of an NFL team. If you're inconsistent, you're going to get beat. And so we've been trying to get on track. We have weeks where, like, man, we look really good, and then the opposite. So we're in a situation now coming to the end of the season where we have a chance to get into the playoffs, and it's a big game versus the Raiders, and body's feeling good. So that's all I can really ask for as a competitor.
Right. Well, they call you pound for pound, so I would expect your body to be feeling good. How's your workout routine during the season? Usually guys, at least myself, I play corner. I'm not toting the rock. So, I keep it pretty light during the season.
Man, I think like lifting honestly is one of the reasons I'm even in the league, just because I started lifting like religiously as a young guy. I was really young, like, I don't even know, but it became a part of me, and it became a part of just like my everyday routine. I'd always be at the gym, even during football season, just always in the gym, like high school, college, off season. And it just made me so strong and compact. And now I think I'm able to keep my balance and really stay durable, really keeps me on the field. But yeah, my workout routine during the season, I'm still in there 4 days a week. Just because I feel I go Monday, Tuesday, and then take Wednesday off, and then go Thursday, Friday. But if I don't, man, I just feel like I'm getting soft. I'm like, man, like my muscles are feeling some type of way. Like, I got to get back in there. I almost have withdrawals, Right. You like it. I love it. Corners is never, I don't know how many corners y'all got in your team that are from Warriors, but 0.
Right.
0.
Right. Hey, we in there because we gotta be. You gotta keep it tight. Keep the shoulders good.
Yeah, I feel you. It's just different mindset. It's different body types work too. We all have our own strengths. Like, I'm a little smaller frame, so I gotta have a really strong lower body. I'm only 5'8", right? So I gotta have something that's my lower body balance and power that keeps me going.
Right. And you've done a great job. There's no doubt about that. So everybody, at least a lot of guys that I deal with, hate fantasy football, but you don't seem to hate it as much as everybody else. Why is that? What made you embrace fantasy football? Because everybody's like, man, 1 week, like, man, I got to produce. And it's like, Hey, I had an off game because my hamstring is torn up, and y'all are talking to me like, man, I killed your family.
No, for real. There's definitely a bipolar crowd when it comes to fantasy football, but I think the real value for me wasn't actually like whether I'm doing well for people, and their teams. I think there's some similarities to, even you and your podcast right here, like creating some type of content and transitioning into a different community and getting into different space, right? Like, I'm not religiously like, oh, it's fantasy football, let me see who I'm going to pick up, waiver wire, stuff like that. But I am into connecting with these people that are supporting me, right? There's a whole community, massive community around fantasy football. And yeah, there's definitely toxic people just like in any community. But there's a lot of the other people that are really supportive, that are, critical, that are actually intelligent with what they're trying to say to you. And I appreciate that. Like, I appreciate that, like, intelligent criticism. Like, hey man, if you would have ran, whatever, this play a little bit different, then you'd have scored me more fantasy points. I'm like, I invite that. But I actually started a fantasy show so I could give back to the community, because I was getting so much support and the community is so strong. I just wanted to give myself and basically tell them thank you. And I did that by doing giveaways and actually being involved in it.
That's really cool, and I'm sure the fans appreciate it. I'm sure you've gotten some cool stories, some cool
opportunities too. Because I mean, sheesh, like no real there's been no NFL guy that's really dove into it and been like, hey, I'm just gonna accept it and I'm gonna really dive in there. And because of that, that's how I got in touch with Yahoo. And they're like, hey, let's do a show. And so I do a little weekly show. I actually filmed the last episode today. And I started my own 2 leagues through my foundation. So it was all for charity. And there's got some cool relationships that have been made, and just being in that type of environment, when you're competing against other people, it's honestly like the NFL season, because my teams are all terrible, but there was ups and downs. We're talking crap. It was more about the journey, right? It was about the journey, not necessarily that I'm not in the championship. So man, it's a fun time. I'm looking forward to next year.
It's all about the process. It really is. It really is. It's a fun journey. That's why I think people like it. You have a chance every week, you can pick up guys, cut guys. You guys can do better this week. Let's talk about your outside of the football. I guess they're still inside of football, but just not outside of the National Football League, the FCFL. How'd you get into that? Yeah. And how have you enjoyed it so far?
Man, the FCF, man, it's been wild because for those of you who don't know, it's fan control football. And I'm a part owner of the Wild Aces. Who are you with? Are you the Glacier Boys? Yeah, the Glacier Boys, right. The Glacier Boys. So yeah, I was on Twitch, which that's where it's broadcast, and you can call the plays from your chat and stuff like that. It's very interactive. And so I was all about community when I was on Twitch. I was doing motivational talks. I was talking to people about situations, playing games, doing giveaways, all this engagement, and obviously playing the league at the same time. And so they reached out to me. They're like, man, you're already in our space. You play football. Would you be interested in this? And it's first of all, I was like, what the heck are they trying to do? Fans call plays, and then actual people go out and run them. That sounds like a dream. Right. And, we came together and, ended up investing in it and actually getting into it. Got my community. They were excited about the new opportunity to come together. And that's really what sold it for me, is that my community was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Let's do it. And so I was like, yeah, okay, I'm in. And then ended up winning the championship, holding it down for the first one.
Man, that was nonsense, man. We had that. The refs,
The refs, right, the refs. It's actually weird because there's all these weird rules. It's you can get a progressive 5th down, and then the onside kicks really weird. Yeah, so it's actually really
we were in one game where they were like extra down, and we were like, well, that was the 5th down. I know you're not about to give them another down. I know you. There got to be a limit on how many you can use during one drive. Or something.
Who's paying these guys?
Right.
No,
but they're having another season this spring, 2022. They're expanding, 8 teams now. How you feeling about that? I mean, bigger league. Seems like last year was fantastic. Got a lot of attention.
Yeah, I was actually at a tryout out here in LA, and talking to some of the guys and some of the ownership, and they're like, man, we're really taking off now. I'm like, that's what I like to hear. A little bit more competition, doubling the leagues, a few more games. I think it's just really cool. It's kind of a theme for me, but it's giving people opportunities, right? It's giving people opportunities to play, because I'm at the tryout and people are like, hey man, you know how it is, they're trying to get an opportunity to get into the league. I'm like, bro, this is perfect for you. Any type of film that you can get in any competitive atmosphere is giving you a chance, right? Because
especially when the National Football League isn't going on, all eyes are on you. There was freaking highlights on ESPN almost every week.
Yeah, this is an opportunity. Take advantage, because you might not get another opportunity like this. You better be thankful that you're getting this. They're like, man, I'm trying to work. I know. I'm like, I get it. I get you're trying to work to the NFL, but use this right now. Take advantage of this opportunity first, and that will lead to more down the road.
Right. Yeah, no, that's totally true, and I'm sure those guys are grateful for your advice. It's always cool to have that voice. It was probably cool to have you show up at the tryouts. I wish I could have got to one. But I'm all the way out here in Tampa where, COVID COVID is crazy.
It's running rampant.
Right. It's running crazy.
It's running out here too, man. We just had 10 guys with COVID 2 weeks ago. I was on the list. I couldn't even play. It's probably because I went to the tryout.
Right. you're like, man, it's
never mind.
Boy. They talked about another variant today, but that's a story for a different day.
Oh my goodness. Oh no.
Good night. But so that's the FCFL. That's one of your investments, and we were talking about the esports community. And so are you a Call of Duty guy, NF Madden guy?
Right. Bro, see, people get this conception about me that, oh, Ekeler's a big gamer, but no, Ekeler's not a big gamer. Ekeler cares about his community, right? And I have a lot of people, like I would play video games every once in a while and people are like, hey, I play too. And so let's play, so I started a community around it. It's not like I'm a pro at any of these games that I'm playing. It was all for the engagement, all to really make that connection, because I came from such a small town in my journey. Like I was undrafted, like went through that route and had to chip my way up. And now I'm finally in a starting role. And I'm just so thankful for the people that have supported me along the way. And a lot of them, especially out here in LA in this community, that continue to just support me. I just like, man, how do I thank these people? Like, how do I thank them by giving more than just, hey, a thumbs up or thank you, or like signing a few things at a game? I just want to be able to do it in a bigger way. So that's why I started streaming. That's why I started gaming with people, the fantasy. That's why I started doing all this engagement stuff. And that's where I was, playing a lot of video games and started, Gridiron Gaming Group, went down that path just to engage and connect with people.
And it seems like you've had tremendous success with it. What's the most like fun experience you've had with the fan? Like playing a game? Was it playing a game, or was it meeting them in person, or was it through the fantasy football?
Yeah, there's so many great moments from my streams, just because after like 6-7 months, you actually get to know some of the personalities in your chat. And so you're joking around with people, people a little bit more. I used to do all these giveaways. And Jack, he was one of my moderators. I would do this like marble race. It was like the super interactive, like you type your name in the chat and it'd put you on the screen as a marble, and you'd go down the track, and whoever won would actually get the prize. And so we do a lot of different things like that. And one of my mods, Jack, he would always win the practice round, and just like different things just to engage with the community. There's not like one real highlight that stands out, but it was just like the highlight of just engaging and having so much fun and talking crap and like just being in the moment and just being with people. And people are like, oh man, like we can't wait to your next stream. And I'm like learning people. I've actually met some people from my stream, and actually one lives like a mile away from me, and he's working on another project that I'm doing for engagement with my app that I'm building. Yeah. So It's crazy how it all came together. Yeah.
It comes full circle. That's pretty cool, man. That people don't understand how that online community can be that way, because we're really people. I think once people get past the whole facade of all the nonsense and they realize we're people, then it's easier for us to connect with them. It's easier for us to have conversations and be ourselves and let them be themselves. And I've had a lot of fun in the Twitch community too. I was streaming on Mixer at first, and then Mixer went left, and then Twitch.
Twitch and YouTube, man. Those are the ones that seems like they're here to stay.
They are definitely here to stay. And then Facebook has some weird thing, but I don't get involved in that.
I think that's great. I think that's great about even this podcast too. It brings kind of like you said, the facade, because people only see us on TV, so they think we're like like on this pedestal. It's like, no, we're normal humans. Like we're just human, right? We're a human, and we have a job that's you may see as cool or not, but a lot of people, enjoy watching us. So they're like, like this person must be so glorious. It's like, you get to know me. I'm pretty chill, down to earth guy.
Pretty regular, jugular guys.
Right. You might even think I'm boring. Who knows?
Right. I might not be as cool. You might want to just see me on the field, because I may not be as cool as you thought I was. I guess.
Facts.
That's pretty cool though, man. So throughout your journey, like you said, you're a small town kid, undrafted route, and you earned everything you've gotten. Like, what do you think was the best bit of like advice, or the most supportive person throughout your journey? Was it your mom? Was it one of your coaches? Because we all hit a fork in the road at some point on our journey where it's like, hey, either I'm going to success, or if I would have went down here, it would have been over with.
Yeah. Man, I think that I did come to a fork in the road. I did. And it was actually after my senior year of college. After my senior year, I was talking to my head coach, Jazz Baines, and he's like, man, you might have a shot to go play in the NFL. And I was like, I know, but I went to a school at 7,000 feet in Colorado. We're up in the mountains. There's snow on the ground all spring. Our spring ball is inside. We're literally up in the mountains, the ski slopes, 30 minutes away. And I was like, man, do I come back, or do I just go all in? And it was the best decision I ever made. But he convinced me. He's like, hey man, like, I think you should just go train. And so that's all I did. I committed. I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I actually dropped out of my last semester of college, and we just went and trained it. It trained everything as far as football, as far as all the, pro day stuff, and just really bought all into it. And then I made the team, obviously, and then went back and finished my degree the year later. But I think that was the best advice I got, was he kind of just pushed me, go all in. And literally that mindset has stayed with me the entire time in my career. Like, cause I came in, I know I was the underdog, right? I'm sixth string. There's only one running back that's on the field. So it's like, I got a lot of making up to do, and it's going to be a lot on special teams. And so I took everything so seriously. I told my family, I was like, you all don't contact me. I know you're excited for my opportunity. I got signed, but I need to focus on this and nothing else. And I went absolutely all in. I was talking to coaches. I was in the meeting rooms. I was up after practice. I was just, everything that I could possibly do, I wanted to make sure I was doing it, because at the end of the day, I wanted to be like, hey, that was everything Austin Ekeler could do. I couldn't do anything else. And at the end of the day, whether I made the team or not, I was going to be able to say there was nothing else I could have done. Right. And so that's what pushed me.
That's the hardest thing, I think, for young NFL players to realize, is that it's not always offense, defense. Like, and sometimes they do realize it, and they're like, man, I'm trying on special teams. It's like, you're trying, but like, you're not going to make the special teams at practice. Like, you're not going to make any plays, and you're barely probably going to make any in the preseason. Like, having a relationship with the special teams coordinator is enormous. Like, being in there, like going over tape, like understanding his vision and what he's trying to do. Like, treat that the same way you would treat offense and defense. Like, you have to put that same energy and effort into it. And I think that's what guys kind of miss the boat. And they're like, man, I'm not getting opportunity on special teams. Like, I asked him, could I play? It's like, no, that's not enough. Like, asking him, can you play?
Young guys don't understand that trust is huge in the NFL. You might be a lesser player than somebody, but a coach trusts that you know what you're doing, and you might play more because of that. Same thing with special teams. This guy, he might be, not as good or not as fast or whatever, but he knows what he's doing, and the coach sees that. And so he feels comfortable having him in the game, but he doesn't feel comfortable, or doesn't feel like you're ready yet. And that's going to affect you. And so you got to commit to learning and building those relationships.
Right. And guys are like, oh man, I don't want to politic. It's like, not politicking. It's getting your opportunity. It's doing everything, like you just said, everything in your power to give yourself the best chance to be put on this football field. And then you can get reps at running back. Then, hey, somebody slipped up, or this guy caught a break, and now all of a sudden I'm at running back because I was available that day.
That's exactly what happened for me. I'm running down on punts, balling out on punt, right? And then, hey, Brandon Oliver, had tweaked his hamstring. Austin, you're getting an opportunity. Boom, got in there. I didn't go crazy. I wasn't balling out, but I did my job, and I made a few plays. And then coach built trust in me, and I slowly started just continue to build on that. Right. And it's not leaps and bounds, right? It's different for everyone with how you come in. Your first round pick, there's a little bit more expectation, but regardless of when you get there, it's just making progress. You just got to continue to build and build and build, because when you stay flat or you decline, you're done.
No question. Dependability and availability are the best abilities in this. It's the biggest things you can have. Like, a coach
100%.
needs to be able to say, hey, I know what I'm getting out of this guy. And by knowing what he's getting sound, like, play, consistent play every time. If you're not consistent and you're not dependable and you're not available, I don't care how talented you are, you're not going to be in this league long.
Exactly, man. And I love talking about this too with younger guys, because I'm like, even the guys that come in that are undrafted, I talk to them every year. I'm like, even if you don't make the team, carrying that same mindset with you while you're here is going to translate to your life, and you're going to be able to do anything you want.
Right.
If anything you want, because if you bring everything that you are capable to the table, all of your talents, all of your dedication, all of your efforts or something, like, you are eventually going to excel in something, or at least continue to progress and find where you want to be. Right. Like, it might not be football, because guess what? It ends for all of us, and you can't sustain this career forever, but there's a career out there where you can find yourself and continue to build and find, a passion that you're actually excited about.
Well, you guys have one of the most talented rosters in the National Football League. You got, talent up and down the defensive roster. You got a Bosa, you got Derwin, Chris Harris Jr., you got young Asante Samuel. You got obviously Keenan and the boys. What do you think of Justin Herbert? I always liked him coming out of college, and he seems to be everything they thought he'd be. Yeah.
Even before we get into that, I'll just say, we have a lot of talent, but it takes a lot more than talent to win games, right? Obviously. We can get into that later. But Herbert, man, this guy is a guy who just, like, cares so much. I love that. Like for me, like when you come in as a drafted guy, like I really just hope you're a good teammate, because if you're a good teammate, then it's so much easier to get along with you, so much easier to help you out. Especially like my running backs coming in the room, just like, please be a good person and not just be big headed and feel like, oh, this is all about you. Cause it takes all of us as a community. And so that is Justin. He cares about the guys. He cares about being here, cares about the success of the team, obviously himself as well. But like, I can see it too, because like after a win or after a loss, he's always the last one to take his pads off. He just sits there and just soaks it all in and just chats it up with people and just like, man, like he's just bringing all the moment in and just, you know, having him around the locker room. He's still a young guy, so you know how young guys are. It takes them a little bit to, you know, bring their personality out and just really come out. Some are faster than others, but he's been developing, man, on a line that we never even expected coming in. Now he's in his second year, already broke Phillip Rivers, touchdown record is insane. So I'm definitely glad to be his backfield buddy.
No, that's awesome. I mean, he's been everything they've expected. He's incredibly mobile, the biggest arm, one of the biggest arms in the league, accurate, and the things that people can't see. You know, obviously, right. You're saying he's a great teammate. He cares. But like you said, it takes more than talent to win in this league. It takes care. It takes chemistry. It takes luck. It takes a lot of things. Sacrifice. You know, I think sacrifice is one of the biggest things that it takes, and guys don't understand that. Like, to win, you got to care about the guy next to you and his success almost as much or more than yours. Because if you care, then you won't shortchange him. You won't cheat him. I won't make a selfish play because I want it for him too. So it's like, hey, I'm going to make the right play every time because I know, hey, I want to feed this dude's family too. I know it's bigger than me, but there are plays in games where you could be like, I can easily just be selfish right here, get mine and screw the team. Yeah. And the difference between championship teams and teams that don't win championships is that sacrifice.
Really is, man. Like you hit it square on the head. Literally, it's like you and Coach Staley just said the same thing that people say. This like Coach Staley, our head coach, was always like, "We need you to play the way you need to play, not the way you want to play." And that might be different. It might not always be the same, but it's going to give the team the most success. You know, and there's many different examples of that. It's like a risk reward thing, you know, and so you get selfish players are going to take more risks. If they make those plays, great. It looks like a good play, but if they don't, that's when you hurt the team. Right. So yeah, 100% agree, man.
It's like at your position. It's like, hey, you could have 30 carries for 150 yards and you guys lose the ball game, or you could be in the backfield taking on blocks and protecting the quarterback and you guys win the ball game. And it's like, if you're upset winning that way, then you're not the kind of teammate that we need to win a championship. Because like, I have to be happy that whatever I did to win was enough. Like, hey, I did my part to win. My stats look like whatever. They look like a win. Looks like a W. Because if my stats look great and we take an L, then what kind of player am I? What kind of player am I to be like, man, I got mine today? Like, shit, I mean, it sucks we lost, but shit, that's on, you know, I mean, I did me.
Yeah. And, you know, you've been there too. Like, well, I've been there anywhere. It's like, man, our team sucks. Like, it's different circumstances too. It's like when your team's rolling, all right, it's like, all right, like it puts a little bit pressure on you. Like we all play for a lot of different reasons. But being a part of a team that's having success, I think it just like brings it all full circle as far as like, oh, like we are a team. Because when you're on a team, I've been on a team where we won like 4 or 5 games. And even going back to college, man, it's just like, all right, like I got to play well. Like I'm going to do my best. It might not even be enough, but man, yeah. So there's different perspectives, right? That's why I love the NFL, because it puts you in different life situations that can be translated to anything in life. And I think it just all in one. It encompasses everything.
I think that's what's allowed me to help in some of my ventures off the field, because, you know, I'm sitting on a few boards, enthusiast. I'm actually on the board for this e-gaming company. I'm on the board for this Oxia, this like concussion drug that's supposed to solve like kind of lower the effects of concussions. It's going to be big later on. Yeah. But my perspective, this Decibel Fund I'm on the board of, and it's like at first I was like, man, why do you guys need me on the board? Like, you know, I'm professional at football. You know, not to shortchange myself. You know, I went to Stanford. I have other skills to offer, but I'm not as polished in those spaces as I am in this space. And they were like, we want to understand your perspective on being a team, because it applies to companies and how championship teams are made.
Right.
And it was really interesting because we got in those conversations and it really started to make sense because I'm talking to these CEOs and I'm like, hey, you have to treat the person at the bottom of the roster, the bottom of your company, with the same respect and appreciation as you do as yourself. As like, you can't sit there and talk down on anyone if you want that kind of production from them. If you want them to be valued and give you the same effort, you have to give them that kind of respect. And I think that was one of the things that gave us a chance to win a Super Bowl in Seattle, is because it started from day one. It started from top to bottom. So if you go in the locker room one day, you can tell who the highest paid player was versus the practice squad guy. You couldn't.
Love that.
You can tell if you walk in, you just be like, that. Oh, okay, these guys like to have a good time.
Right.
And when that's the case, then everybody feels value. Everybody feels like, hey, my job is the most important job on the team, because it is. It is. Like, you running down on kickoff as the 5, you are just as important as quarterback, and we need you. We need you to make a play today.
Because one person doesn't do their job, that's how it works. Yeah. No, well said. Well said, my man.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you got things to do on your off day, but I appreciate you coming on.
No, I appreciate you having me, man. Yeah, well, anytime you want me on, let's chat it up. Shoot, we can get specific now. We filtered out. That was just like, all right, let's top level. I'm down to dive into some topics, though.
You're right. We're gonna dive deep next time.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
Yes,
all right, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Welcome to the Richard Sherman podcast, brought to you by Super Draft Fantasy. If you're a real football fan, you know that daily fantasy is broken. Super Draft has fixed it with their new game, Super 15. Listeners get their first $5 game for free, no deposit required, with the code PFF at registration. You know the game. Pick your best 5 players off the grid with $15 in salary and let it ride. It takes less than a minute. Watch me pick a new lineup every week and see if you can beat my score. Download the Super Draft app and see if you can beat me to win cash prizes. Just use the code PFF at registration for your first $5 contest free. No credit card required to claim the offer. Offer only eligible for new accounts. Welcome back. You know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the Super Draft Super 15 contest. Back at it again with my guy, Mitch Eisenstein. I don't want to talk about it. We thought we were having a god dang good day. Joe Burrow's 6 touchdowns, I think it was. He was freaking going bananas.
Balling.
6. He was going crazy. 446 yards, and then, of course, you have Jamar Chase. And Jamar Chase went over 266 yards.
We talked about it, though, Rich, because it's all about hedging your bet, right? I mean, and maybe it's unfair to you that I go second every time. Maybe I should start off and go first. I mean, you tell me. But you picked Joe Burrow, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna mitigate my risk here. I'm gonna go with Jamar Chase. In the event Burrow pops off, I got a good feeling he's gonna go to my boy Jamar Chase, and sure enough, he did, to the tune of like 59 points in standard PPR format. Remarkable. But it's a new week, and it's another opportunity for a win. So
I'm going first. I'm going with Kyler Murray. He has a big game, needs to win against Seattle. We need big game out of him. Kyler Murray, $5 pick. I don't know because I don't know if Devonta is going to play, but Alvin Kamara needs a big game. The Saints, they're in a do or die situation. You need your best players to play their best. I need you to play your best. Let's see. Mike Evans needs 54 yards. I'm going to go Mike Evans. He needs 54 yards to have the 8th consecutive 1,000-yard season. National Football League record, of course. The next person I'm going with is Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny is playing the Cardinals. Their rush defense isn't great. He's been really running the ball well, but every time I pick him, he decides to not run the ball as well, and I need that to stop. Braxton Berrios for my $1 pick. He's getting a lot of points. He's getting a lot of footballs. He's been featured in their offense. I saw it firsthand last week.
Well, I like what you did there, Richard. You picked a lot of guys that have some things to play for, and I kind of had the same philosophy. I went $5 choice, Josh Allen, not the Jacksonville Jaguar Josh Allen, but the Buffalo Bill Josh Allen. They got some stuff to play for. They got a division to win, and they're playing the Jets. So I think that he goes out there, balls out. He's going to carry the team. $5, you're my choice. $4, I'm going to skip it. I want to give kudos to Jamar Chase. Thank you so much for the win last week. But as we talked about last week, Richard, the odds of having back-to-back outstanding games, I don't like it. So I'm going to avoid the $4 slot, and I'm going to go down to $3, where we meet Ryan Tannehill and A.J. Brown. I'm going to take both of them. I'm going to take the receiver-quarterback combo. Tennessee's got a ton to play for. Potential number 1 seed in the AFC, potentially getting Derrick Henry back for the playoff run. I expect Tannehill to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders and throw the ball to A.J. Brown about 100 times that game. And then the $2 pick, I'm going with the Sun God again. Amon-Ra St. Brown out of USC. Richard, he kind of reminds me a little bit of your former teammate Golden Tate. He's been having an absolute stellar last month of the season, and that's why I picked him at number 2. And then my other number $2 pick, because I got an extra buck I saved for not going with $4, is Jalen Waddle. The one thing that concerns me is Dolphins don't have a ton to play for, but he's also been having a great second half of the year, and I look for him to give me the extra boost I need to beat Richard once again.
You know what? Obviously, I don't know who's adding up the points and doing these things. I need to do my own research.
We do. We can go with the different software to,
AJ Brown with Julio coming back. I don't know. Julio, is coming back this week off the COVID list. I don't know. I think this is my week to get it. Thank you guys. You guys should download Super Draft. Play the Super 15 contest. If you haven't already signed up, use the promo code PFF. No strings attached, no credit card required to get your first $5 game for free. Join us. Good luck. I can't lose this week. I'm 3-8. You guys need to show up for me this week. Kyler Murray, come on now. All right.
Do you want to pick an extra player?
No, I'm not picking an extra player.